Hey everyone, don't get anxious, get prepared. I am your career engineer and thank you for being here. You can always find us at tcenow.com and don't forget to, in whichever platform you are enjoying me on, to subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff because we're here to give you really good and relevant career content. So we also have a way, you see my little sticker here. You can also text to 757-600-0093. 757-600-0093. Text TCE to that number and you can get your alerts by direct text because I am sending career tips all the time to our people. So we welcome you. It's something new we're doing, but we want you to don't have to wait till when I come online to do something. I want you to get tips from us. So just hit that number. Text TCE to 757-600-0093. Okay. So that's the deal. I want to get some of that in, but I need to really talk about, what's kind of going on. Okay, what's going on? As you saw in our title, we're talking about career resilience. Unless I have been under a rock, there's some things that have occurred the beginning of this year in the workforce. And I need to hit that elephant in the room because even though, yes, I've got some great strategies for you, normally this time of year, we're doing bloom into your new thing, spring into a brand new career. The flowers are blooming, and they are. They still are. But there's been some uncharted territory, uncommon times that we're facing right now. And I wouldn't be your career engineer if I didn't hit that head on before I dive into some things for you. So, first thing, this elephant in the room. At the time of me talking with you right now, there has been a federal hiring freeze. And I've had several clients who had offers whose jobs were rescinded. There's reduction in force at the federal level, and there has been outright firings. This is happening. And as of, I think it was February 20th, when I looked at some of the numbers, and I don't really like dating our content, but these are uncharted times. There were 30,000 folks have been laid off from federal employment. Now, let me say something to you. Drawing from my MSW days, because people forget I am a social worker. I was trained clinical social worker and administration with an MSW. That one thing that's been a true social work rule, axiom, if you will, a change in one part of a system impacts the entire system. Understand? Because I'm going to get into the resilience part, but this is a bedrock foundation. Any change in one part of a system will impact the entire system. Okay. The mass job cuts, the threats of mass job cuts, the policy changes that kind of happen quick, fast, and in a hurry are affecting workforce morale and productivity. And please understand, it's not just the federal workforce. There are policies and programs that are connected to federal dollars. And the change in the system can impact entire systems that aren't necessarily the W-2 workers who I appreciate and I thank them for their service. So this will have a ripple effect. You may not feel it now wherever you are, but in your career, your life, or your business, there is some type of program or policy from the federal level where people work, people do services, people provide goods, people provide information that will impact you. And it could impact, well, no, not could, let me fix that. It will do some economic impact in the different states and cities and counties where this is. I've got to put that out there. I cannot be your career engineer if I don't say that. Now, here comes me being the person of optimism and hope all the time. Yes, these are uncharted times. I want you to say that word, uncharted times or uncharted territories or uncertain times. But I do believe, I truly believe that the professionals who are aware, you stay aware, you're making sure you're paying attention, okay, to the vetted sources where you get your information, okay, your industry or other places that you get your information. But if you are aware and prepared, there's an and there, I believe you will prevail with what's next. Do I know what next is in these uncharted times? I surely do not. But I do know that when you're prepared and you are aware and you keep your eyes on the facts, not the feelings, you can prevail. And it does mean doing some one of our push-up this month, which I think is very appropriate. I tend to use it in the springtime, but it's called Pruning is Necessary. And can this not be more real than what's happening today? Pruning is necessary. In your career, your life, or business, if there are buds that are not sprouting or branches, I'm being metaphorical here with the garden theme here, things that are dead and not producing fruit or have the ability to produce fruit, you need to prune, because if you keep them there, it will impact the entire system. So maybe there's things in your household as you do some inventory of your BLE, also known as basic living expenses, because we're in uncharted times, you're prepared. And even if things don't change, you're prepared. It's always a good idea to look at the bottom line and look at your numbers, no matter what. So pruning is necessary. Apply that to your career, your life, and your business this month and beyond. Okay, so let's jump into this. What are the essential things you need to be resilient? Because these times that we're in, you got to be resilient. You can't pass out and lose it. You just can't. You can, but it's not going to be beneficial. The time that it takes you to get back up off the ground when your competition is braced for impact, okay, you've got to get yourself in the spirit of brace for impact. Whether it's left, whether it's right, you're prepared for both. Very important. So one of the big skills is this here. You got to be able to adapt quickly, effectively, and accurately. I put all these A's here. And agility, which means you've got to be able to be mobile. You've got to be able to move quicker. What's that phrase, that thing that, this is old school stuff, but, the paralysis of analysis. I am a big fan of proper due diligence. Do your homework. Don't make these quick, fast moves without understanding the if this, then that. Do some critical thinking. That sounds like an essential skill before you make a move. But at the same time, you got to make a move. You got to be flexible. I don't want you to break, but if the wind is shifting east, you might need to go to the west. If something is blowing from the north, you might need to kind of lean toward the south. But you've got to recognize when to do this. And adaptation, this is a season of being adaptable. We have a whole new way of doing just about everything. And if you fail to innovate, you will evaporate. Okay, so we've got to make sure we have these skills. If you don't have them, get some. If you have them and you haven't applied them, find a space to do that, which means you've got to have some experience using this. All right. Big thing I'm going to say moving forward, and this is for the rocket scientist to the ditch digger, right? Your skills are your superpower. Your skills are your superpower. You have got to know your skills, and you want to take some personal inventory of them. What are the things you crush, you rock, you got that? What are the skills that are so needed in your industry or the place where you're contributing that you're not quite where you want to be? You're at a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 3. You need to get to 5, 6, 7, or 8. 10 is great, but we don't live in a world where everything's a 10. That's just not even realistic. But if you're at a 3 and you've been a 3 for a while, you need to do something about that. So your skills are your superpower. And what are the skills? Digital literacy is a big one. We all have to do that. We all have to stay on top of tech. But you don't have to be the scientist of tech. You don't have to be the coder. I'm not asking you to do zeros and ones. Is that even around still? To be the person walk around with a server in their pocket, okay? But I am saying, however, technology or artificial intelligence has tapped into the space where you contribute, do you know enough about it to partner, use, utilize, command, and it will change in 90 days. So you do understand 3-4 times a year, whether you're self-taught on YouTube or you do some professional training with other vetted vendors out here that have some things, or you're going to do OJT, figure it out on your own, apply it to something, learn the tricks and the tools of the trade. But in any event, just like we have the seasons, that's what your digital literacy should be about. What other things are superpower skills? those essential ones that we used to call soft skills a long time ago. I want to start calling them leadership skills or actually essential skills. Problem solving, take it up a notch. Complex problem solving, take it up a notch again. How about creative and complex problem solving? Critical thinking, time management, collaborations, communication, horizontal and vertical, right? And emotional intelligence, okay? Emotional intelligence. Those are critical skills, essential skills to make it today. When you combine those with your tech skills, your high tech and high touch, you become valuable and relevant and in demand. So your skills are your superpower. If you're not jumping off of top buildings and your cape ain't flying or working, check your skills and go get you some. Let me give another piece of this just as a sidebar. I was thinking of this a minute. I appreciate all of you going to LinkedIn and all these other places and getting these certificates. I appreciate them. Please apply please apply that new skill to some type of scenario. That's called experience. Just a whole bunch of certificates don't mean a whole lot of anything. Have you applied the knowledge? Have you applied the skills so we can know if you can do it or not? All right. Third part, to be essential, to be resilient in these uncharted and uncommon times. Networking is not optional. And every time I have a conversation like this, I'm telling y'all that networking is very important. Do you see now why? The 30,000 folks whose lives have just changed, and more that will be coming, and not just all Fed. I'm telling you, it's going to impact other services and businesses that are attached to that policy program or just that zip code where those people live, where those people spend, where those people eat, where those people need services and goods to keep their livelihood going on. So if you have a strong network, meaning you're doing that, you're going deep, not necessarily wide. You're talking with your collaborators, your people who you know, like, and trust, who may have access and opportunities for you, and vice versa. You may have access and opportunity for them. You got to take that networking up, and it can be there is so many creative ways of networking. You can be at a painting party and network. You can be at a traditional conference, traditional luncheon, those things. But there is more than two people in the room. It's a networking event. So be in some creative boutique spaces. Definitely show up to your main thing spaces, but you've got to show up, step up, and follow up. That's called networking. And that's more important now. Now imagine if you got some bad news at your job, but you had such a strong network already because you've been cultivating that. And you share with your community, ooh, guess what just happened? I'm looking for thus and so. Your community has other eyes that are looking out for you. That's why it's so powerful. Next, I always say, don't get anxious, get prepared. I'm going to call that an essential skill. Don't get anxious, get prepared. Having that mindset, having that backbone, having that as your brace for impact. I'm not anxious. Instead of being anxious, I'm going to go ahead and get prepared. And that means those skills I talked about, check them out, see how they're crushing it. Make sure there's evidence, proof positive use of talent with performance, accomplishments, leadership, and your strengths, and all the things you put out in the atmosphere. Your resume, your cover letters, your LinkedIn profiles, your directory profiles, your whatever tangibles you're putting out in cyberspace, or old school with a cup of coffee and a piece of paper. Yes, paper still exists. Make sure it's showcasing the pals. Pals are important. I've added the S. I've always said pals with an S, but the S has also always been your strength. I hope there's nothing on your brand that's talking about what you can't do or shows where you have minimal skill sets. It should be maximized. So I want the good stuff. That's the stuff you need to make sure you're straight with. And if it's not where it needs to be today, go get on that. Go get ready. Go do something. You can do something. And yes, I'm here to help. You can visit us at tcenow.com. And I am committed to doing what I can to help folks who have been impacted by uncharted times that we're in now, and those who may be reading the writing on the wall and need to get prepared. We're here for you. You can visit us at tcenow.com. I've also blogged more on this with more information, so you can hit up my blog page. You can also visit our social medias. I am gently TikToking, just really gently up there. But our IG, our Facebook, and of course, good old-fashioned email and telephone. You can always reach out to us at 757-745-4823. You can always text me there as well. 757-745-4823 is our regular, good old-fashioned telephone number, all right? So these are the things that we need to do to stay resilient, get that backbone, be braced for impact. It's coming. Be prepared for it. Makes the shock a little less traumatic. But one thing I will say, and I'm going to close on this because I need to, change is the only permanent thing we ever had, okay? And it's not uncommon for times that labor market is doing some serious shifting. That's the way the world is. So how do you prepare for it? You be ready for it. Don't be anxious. Don't make any decision when you're anxious, desperate, or vulnerable. Always do it in a spirit of preparation, and you will prevail. I look forward to seeing you folks next month. And remember, don't get anxious. Always, always be prepared. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching our Corinne British show. I hope you learned a lot about today's topic. If you enjoyed the show, please let me know by visiting our website, tcenow.com, and sending me an email. I'd love to hear from you.